Have you ever noticed how a young woman's greeting can feel different? Not just polite, not just casual time, but something softer, slower, warmer. Almost like there's an unspoken meaning behind her smile, her eyes, her voice. Maybe it's the way she looks up a fraction longer. Maybe it's the way her tone changes when she says hello, or maybe it's the nervous playfulness in her gestures and small things, but powerful signals. And here's the deeper question. What does it mean when a young woman greets an older man this way? If you've ever felt this, you're not alone. Across time, across cultures, men have wondered the same thing, and the answer lies not in modern dating tricks, but in ancient wisdom. Before we go further, make sure to subscribe to my Stoic journey, hit the like button, and watch this video until the very end, because what you'll discover today isn't just about greetings, it's about perception, psychology, and Stoicism. And trust me, once you understand this, it can completely shift how you move in relationships, attraction, and even in your own self-respect. Now let's build the foundation before diving into the heart of the matter. Context building, Stoicism, and human signals. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wrote in his Meditations, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." That quote may seem about inner reflection, but it's also a guide to human interaction. When someone greets you, especially in a way that feels unusual or emotionally charged, it's easy to jump into assumptions. She must like me. She must be flirting. She must be thinking about me. But Marcus reminds us, strength doesn't come from clinging to external signs. It comes from inner clarity. Think about it. A greeting is one of the simplest human actions, yet within it there can be layers of meaning. Respect, admiration, attraction, nervousness, curiosity. The wise man doesn't rush to interpret. He notices. He remains calm. He allows the truth to reveal itself over time. This is the Stoic lens we'll apply, because while modern advice might tell you to decode every smile or word, Marcus Aurelius teaches us to see with detachment. And that very detachment makes you more powerful, more attractive, and more respected. So how does this play out? Let's explore 10 Stoic suggestions from Marcus Aurelius to understand how young women greet older men they secretly like. And more importantly, how a Stoic man should interpret and respond. 1. Observe but do not assume. Marcus wrote, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth, by which no one was ever truly harmed." This is our first principle, observation without assumption. When a young woman greets an older man she secretly likes, her actions might be subtle, longer eye contact, warmer tone, or a slightly playful smile. Most men instantly assume she likes me, but a Stoic knows. Assumption clouds judgment. Instead, the Stoic observes. He notices details without attaching a story to them. He records them in his mind the way a scribe records history, accurately, but without personal coloring. Let me give you an example. Imagine an older man, let's call him Marcus, fitting name. He often visits a bookstore in his neighborhood. A young woman works there, and every time he walks in, she greets him with a smile that seems brighter than what she gives other customers. One day she even remembers his favorite author and mentions a new release. A common man might inflate his ego. She's into me. She's definitely attracted. Another man might ignore it altogether. She's just being nice, nothing more. But the Stoic path is balance. Marcus simply observes, she greets me differently. She remembers details about me. This is unusual compared to her behavior with others. And here's the power. By not assuming, he keeps his dignity intact. He doesn't act needy, nor does he dismiss her entirely. He allows the truth of her actions to unfold over time, instead of forcing meaning onto them. This composure is attractive. Women sense it, because she might be testing the waters, and if he reacts too strongly, he breaks the spell. But if he observes calmly, she leans closer. 2. Value character above charm. Marcus reminded himself, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. This means what matters most isn't the surface, and it's the essence. When a young woman greets an older man she secretly likes, yes, her charm may be on display. Maybe her voice softens. Maybe her laugh is a little too quick. Maybe her eyes sparkle. But charm alone is never enough. Think of it this way. A woman may greet you sweetly because she likes you, or because she enjoys the thrill of attention, or because she is naturally warm with everyone. Charm is easy to fake. Character is not. For example, back to Marcus in the bookstore. Suppose one day he arrives looking visibly tired. If the young woman greets him not just with her usual warmth, but also with genuine concern, "You seem a little worn out today, are you okay?" That reveals more than charm. That reveals character. Marcus Aurelius himself faced countless flatterers as emperor. Senators, soldiers, and citizens all greeted him with words dripping in praise. But he taught himself to look past the charm and judge the soul. He knew that true connection comes not from flattery, but from genuine thought and care. 3. Do not crave, do not reject. Marcus Aurelius said, "Receive without pride, let go without attachment." This principle is critical. When a young woman greets you warmly, enjoy it, but don't cling to it. When she greets you plainly, accept it, but don't resent it. The Stoic strength is neutrality. Imagine another scenario. You walk into a cafe you frequent and there's a young woman behind the counter. Most days her greeting feels casual, but one day she greets you with more warmth. Maybe even a playful comment about your usual order. The non-Stoic man reacts in extremes. If she's warm, he feels elated. Yes, she likes me. If she's cold, he feels rejected. She must not care about me after all. But the Stoic man follows Marcus's advice. He receives both greetings, the warm and the plain, without pride and without attachment. This doesn't mean he is robotic or emotionless. It means he treats both outcomes as neutral. Both are part of the flow of life. And paradoxically, this neutrality makes him more attractive. Why? Because young women are highly perceptive. They can sense when a man is overly excited by their attention or crushed by their indifference. Both extremes show weakness, but when a man remains steady, responding with calm appreciation, whether her greeting is glowing or flat, she feels his groundedness. This steadiness is magnetic. It tells her, this man is not swayed by my moods. He stands firm in himself, and that, more than charm, pulls her deeper. 4. Guard your imagination. Marcus Aurelius warned, "Such as are your habitual thoughts, such also will be the character of your mind. For the soul is dyed by the thoughts." This is one of the most important Stoic lessons when it comes to attraction. Here's why. When a young woman greets you in a way that feels different, your mind can become your greatest ally or your worst enemy. Think about it. She greets you with a longer smile, her voice softens, and suddenly your imagination leaps into overdrive. She likes me. She's into me. She must be thinking of me outside of this place. Maybe she wants something more. But what does Marcus say? Guard your imagination, because your habitual thoughts will shape your reality. If you let fantasies take over, you stop seeing clearly. Let me paint a story. An older man named Julian works in an office. Every morning, a young woman from another department passes by his desk. Most days, her greeting is polite. But lately, she has begun to pause, smiling warmly, asking how his weekend was, making small remarks that seem just a little more personal. Now Julian's imagination kicks in. He begins to wonder if she's secretly attracted. He replays the greeting in his mind at night. He starts interpreting every word, every look, every laugh. Before long, his imagination has built a whole narrative that may or may not exist. And here's the danger. When you treat imagination as reality, you lose control. You start acting differently, sometimes awkwardly, sometimes with misplaced confidence. And the very thing that might have drawn her, your calm presence, disappears. The Stoic approach is different. You notice the greeting, you acknowledge it, but you stop your imagination before it runs wild. You say to yourself, I observed a warmer tone. That is all I know for certain. Nothing more. This protects you. It keeps your mind clear. It prevents the spiral of fantasy that can lead to disappointment or worse, foolish behavior. Marcus faced this in a far greater way. As emperor, people greeted him with exaggerated respect every day. If he had let his imagination run wild, he would have believed he was loved by all, when in truth, many only sought favor or power. His discipline of thought saved him from delusion. So when a young woman greets you with warmth, guard your imagination. Appreciate the moment, but remain in reality, because fantasy is sweet at first, but it blinds. And the Stoic man never blinds himself, he sharpens his vision. Then respect her humanity, not just her beauty. Marcus wrote, "The object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane." What does this mean here? It means that society often drives us insane by reducing women to surface level symbols of beauty, flirtation, greetings, instead of recognizing their full humanity. When a young woman greets an older man she secretly likes, it's easy for the man to focus only on the attractive surface, her smile, her eyes, her youthful energy. But the Stoic lens digs deeper. Behind that greeting is not just beauty. There is a human being with her own inner world, her struggles, her insecurities, her hopes, her respect for you, maybe even her admiration for the way you carry yourself. Let me share a story. In a university library, an older professor, Dr. Elias, often sees one of his graduate students. She is intelligent, ambitious, and respectful. Every time she greets him, she does so with a special brightness. Her smile lingers, her tone softens, her eyes hold admiration. Many men in his position would focus only on her beauty and the possible attraction. But Dr. Elias practices Stoic thought. He asks himself, what lies behind this greeting? Is it attraction? Respect for my knowledge? A longing for guidance? Or simply admiration for strength? By respecting her humanity, he avoids the trap of vanity. He doesn't reduce her to a pretty young woman who might like me. Instead, he sees her as a complex human and treats her with dignity. Marcus Aurelius faced this lesson constantly. Surrounded by courtiers, soldiers, and citizens, many greeted him with adoration. It would have been easy for him to believe in his own divine glow. But he reminded himself, these are people, each with their own desires and fears. Their greeting is about them as much as it is about me. The same applies to you. When a young woman greets you warmly, don't see only her beauty or her potential attraction. See her humanity. Respect the courage it may take for her to show warmth. Respect her individuality. This does two things. One, it keeps you grounded. Two, it makes you far more attractive. Because women sense when a man sees them, not just their surface. The greeting becomes not just a moment of attraction, but a bridge of human respect, and that is far more powerful. 6. Stay rooted in your own virtue. Marcus Aurelius commanded himself. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Here is the heart of Stoic masculinity. When a young woman greets you in a way that feels charged, you have two choices. You can lose yourself in analyzing her greeting, replaying it, decoding it, reacting to it, or you can stay rooted in your own virtue. Virtue, for Marcus, was the highest good. Wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. For the Stoic man, your role is not to figure out what her greeting means. It is to continue embodying your virtues regardless. Let's return to Julian, the office worker. Suppose the young woman greets him warmly every morning, perhaps even showing little signs of nervous excitement. A man who is not rooted in virtue might let this shift his behavior. He becomes more eager, more performative, more interested in impressing her than in living his values. But the Stoic path is different. Julian continues his work with integrity. He treats her with kindness, but not excess. He maintains his self-respect, his discipline, his calm. Her greeting is pleasant, but it does not shake his foundation. Why is this powerful? Because women are deeply drawn to men whose value does not depend on their attention. When she greets you warmly, she is often testing your frame. Will you bend? Will you shift your energy to chase hers? Or will you remain solid like a tree that does not sway with every breeze? Marcus Aurelius lived surrounded by temptations, flatterers, and admirers. But his writings reveal his constant return to virtue. Be a good man, not be admired, not be desired, but be good. So when a young woman greets you with warmth, the Stoic way is to appreciate it, but then immediately return to your own virtue. Let your life remain steady. Be consistent in your principles. Ironically, this is exactly what makes you more attractive, because when she sees that her greeting does not throw you off balance, she realizes, this man is solid. He is not moved by small things. He is rooted, and in that rootedness she finds both respect and desire. 7. Silence speaks louder than rush. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You always own the option of having no opinion. There is never any need to get worked up or to trouble your soul about things you can't control." Now let's bring this into our subject. When a young woman greets an older man she secretly likes, there is often an energy in the moment, a pause, a spark, a quiet tension. And here's where many men fail. They rush to fill the silence. They feel the need to say something clever, to respond with extra enthusiasm, to overcompensate. But Marcus reminds us, you always own the option of having no opinion. In other words, that you own the option of stillness, of silence, of calm. Let me tell you a story. An older man named Adrian frequented a local gym. A young woman there often greeted him when he arrived. At first, her greetings were polite. Over time, they grew warmer, more personal. One day, she greeted him with a smile that lingered and a playful remark. "You're so consistent. I think you've been here every morning this month before anyone else." Most men in his shoes would laugh nervously, rush into conversation, or attempt to show off. But Adrian, a man of Stoic practice, simply smiled, nodded gently, and said with calmness, "Consistency is its own reward." Then he continued his routine. Notice what happened. He didn't rush. He didn't force the moment. He didn't try to turn her greeting into something bigger. He allowed the silence, the simplicity, the steadiness to speak louder than words. Here's the paradox: in our noisy world, silence is powerful. A man who doesn't rush, who doesn't need to fill every gap with chatter, radiates confidence. His presence says, "I am enough. I don't need to prove myself with words." This is deeply attractive to women, especially younger women greeting an older man. Because part of the reason she is drawn to him in the first place is his calm, his stability, his lack of youthful nervousness. If he suddenly rushes into chatter, he betrays that strength. Marcus Aurelius faced countless situations where silence was his greatest tool. In the Roman Senate, when flatterers or adversaries tried to provoke him, he often responded with little or no words, just a calm presence. His silence unsettled them more than any argument could. So when a young woman greets you with warmth, don't feel pressured to overperform. Sometimes a calm smile, a nod, or a single steady sentence says more than a flood of words ever could. Silence is not emptiness. It is presence. And presence is what she feels most. 8. Remember the brevity of life. Marcus Aurelius reflected constantly on mortality. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. This teaching changes everything. Even how we interpret something as small as a greeting. When a young woman greets an older man she secretly likes, the moment can feel electric. But here's the trap. Men often overthink it, replay it endlessly, or build fantasies around it. They waste mental energy on decoding instead of living. Marcus reminds us, life is short. You could be gone tomorrow. She could be gone tomorrow. The greeting, no matter how warm or charged, is a fleeting moment. So how should the Stoic man approach it? With presence, with gratitude, with awareness of its brevity. Let's return to our story with Adrian at the gym. After weeks of warm greetings, one morning the young woman greets him more casually, a simple nod, less sparkle in her voice. A non-Stoic man might spiral. Did I do something wrong? Did she lose interest? Why is she colder today? But Adrian remembers Marcus's wisdom. Life is brief. Greetings change. People's moods shift. Nothing is permanent. Instead of overanalyzing, he simply appreciates the moment as it is. He smiles back, continues his workout, and holds no resentment. And here's the beauty. This mindset not only protects him from unnecessary suffering, it also makes him far more attractive. Because women notice when a man doesn't cling, when he doesn't need consistency of attention to feel whole. His calm acceptance of life's ebb and flow communicates a depth that most men lack. Marcus Aurelius often meditated on death not to be morbid, but to sharpen his gratitude for the present. Imagine him walking through Rome, greeted by citizens, soldiers, philosophers. He knew each greeting could be the last, for him or for them. Instead of attaching, he simply appreciated. Why? Because in the vast scheme of life, each greeting is a momentary flicker. A Stoic man honors it but does not cling. And paradoxically, this very attitude, this refusal to be consumed by the fleeting, makes the moment more meaningful. Because she feels that you are not desperate for her attention, you are present but free. And that freedom is magnetic. Bridge to next section. So far, we've explored how to observe without assumption, value character above charm, receive without attachment, guard your imagination, respect her humanity, stay rooted in virtue, embrace silence, and remember life's brevity. Each of these Marcus Aurelius' suggestions builds toward a man who doesn't just react to greetings, but who stands as a calm pillar of strength in the midst of them. In the next part, we'll dive into the final 2 suggestions, principles that tie everything together, and reveal how a Stoic man not only interprets these subtle greetings but transforms them into a deeper source of self-mastery. Closing thoughts. So let's step back and reflect. We've explored 8 Marcus Aurelius' suggestions to understand how young women greet an older man they secretly like, from the lingering eye contact, the softness in her tone, the respect in her words, to the energy that stays long after the moment. It's all there if you train yourself to see. But remember this, the Stoic man never chases, never clings, and never loses himself in the face of desire. He observes, understands, and responds with strength, because at the end of the day, greetings are not about flattery, they are about connection. And the one who is grounded in his own virtue becomes magnetic without effort. So the next time a young woman greets you with unusual warmth, don't be blind to it, but also don't be enslaved by it. See it for what it is. Smile, stay composed, and let your calm strength do the speaking. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.